So yeah, here in Tulsa, I was invited to go see Shane Gillis. I'm not really that familiar with him. Apparently, he was on Saturday Night Live. He does the Trump impression. He does a really funny job with it. And so I saw him last night at the BOK Center. I was invited by a friend, and we went. She had a spare ticket, and I mean, I laughed. I'm not going to say I didn't. I'm not going to say I didn't have a good time, but it was vulgar. And there was three comedians that went up before him. Um, it was kind of disappointing in a way because is this what comedy has turned into? Just vulgarity. I mean, talk about poop, talk about sex, pedophiles, serial killers, and making light and fun of that, and just different things, and making motions that were just completely vulgar, and creating images in people's heads and saying, "Oh, it's a joke, it's a joke." It's not a joke. Okay, you're a joke. The fact that you can't be classy like Seinfeld and be funny with just with ideas and concepts and observations. It was. I mean, they all do the same thing. They come out and they go, "What's up, fuckers?" Oh yeah, that's a great one. So lame, dude. You're all lame comedians. I'm sorry to say, but you're all fucking lame. You're not funny. You're barely funny. You get lucky with some things, and you're just not funny. You're vulgar, disgusting people, and that make light of the vulgarity and make fun of it, laughing at the fact that you're all vulgar, disgusting people. I mean, that's not funny to me. I'm just sorry. It's not funny to me. It just was not classy at all. The first guy went on. Of course, he's a big guy. He's fat. So what did he do? He makes fat jokes, degrading himself in front of everybody. Again, I don't think that's funny. I don't think that's funny at all. I see that all the time here in Tulsa when I go to these little. Back in the day when I would go and check out some comedians out in bars, they just degrade themselves in front of everybody. And I'm not laughing. I feel sorry for you. Like, great, you're telling the truth and you're laughing about it. That's like great. I mean, there's a lot of things we didn't need to know. It's just too personal. You shouldn't be talking about that stuff in front of people and just to get a laugh out of it, just so you can try to become famous. It's like, please, man. That's why I love Seinfeld so much. He's such a classy guy. He doesn't do vulgarity. He does really simple observations and can make you laugh with that. And this guy, if you know anything about Seinfeld, he puts in the work. He puts in the work. And he's been doing it a long time. And he's funny. He's a funny guy. And he doesn't have to be vulgar. He doesn't have to bring up sex. I mean, he does, I guess he does lightly, but it's not vulgar. He doesn't make, he doesn't like, what do you call it? He doesn't, what do you call it? He doesn't thrust his hips and like make signals that he's like licking pussy and shit. Like, it was just disgusting. It was, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I laughed a little bit, not necessarily at that stuff. Cause you go to a comedy show, you want to laugh. So, I participated, but it was more like chuckles. It was more like, huh. Yeah, but it was just disgusting. It was off the charts in vulgarity. They brought up some political points that were on point, talking about the youth. And then there's the thing: when you talk about the youth and they say they're lost, that's not true. There's a lot of youth here that are proper and they do the right thing. So I don't like it when they say all the youth are gone. It's like, that's not true. But again, it's just jokes. But to them, it's all jokes. That's the thing. It's all jokes. It's all jokes. But it's disgusting. It was just disgusting. It was a disgusting show. Super vulgar. I mean, and again, I wanted to be polite and be there. And I'm not gonna lie, I tried to chuckle where I could, and some things were funny, and just some things were just not. Unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. And I haven't really been in watching comedy for a long time, and that's fine. If people want to be vulgar, I'm not saying they can't, but it's just not my cup of tea at all. I think it's lame. It's a cop out to intelligent comedy. It's a cop out to sincere comedy and to what comedy really is. I mean, if you're just going to talk about poop and piss and masturbating and shit like that, I mean, it's fucking disgusting. You know, stop being vulgar, in my opinion. If you can't be classy with comedy, then you have nothing. You have nothing. You're just a vulgar piece of shit, just being vulgar. And then you say, "Well, I'm just joking. I'm just joking." I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing, "I'm just joking. I'm just joking." You're not. It's not a joke. It's not a just because you're on a little stage and have your microphone and you're trying to make people laugh. It's not a joke. You shouldn't be. There's stuff you shouldn't be joking about, man. In my opinion, that's my cup of tea. You know, if you like that stuff, then whatever. God be with you. But it was very unclassy. You know, the first guy, like I said, the first joke he said, and I was so disappointed because the first joke he opened up with was a joke that he probably stole from somebody else. I heard this joke a million times, how, you know, people these days are on dating apps, and this guy, you know, he matches with his mom, and he's like, "Oh, this is weird." I mean, I've heard that joke already. You know, where did you find that, online and just steal it? That's pathetic. You know, all these, it's just, I don't know. You know, I don't think Seinfeld ever degraded himself. I don't think he was ever talking ill about himself, or necessarily ill towards anyone else. But that's just me. You know, I think comedy is dying. I think a lot of people are trying to make comedy into politics. That to me is, if it's done well with intelligence, then it passes my test of your comedy sucks or your comedy is good. And I find most people suck at comedy just because they either don't understand it or they're trying really hard to use vulgarity and different things to make people laugh, which, you know, it's like a cop-out. It's like taking the easy way out. You know, I'm not smart enough to come up with clever material, my own original material, so I have to just go straight to vulgarity. It's a cop-out. It's lazy comedy. It's just lazy. And it's funny because that's the thing they made fun of themselves. They made the fun of themselves about being lazy and this and that. It's not funny. It's not funny. You're a fat piece of shit and you're laughing it off and you don't do anything about it. You know, great. You just want to make jokes and do nothing about it. All right, go live your life, you know, whatever. But I don't know. I was a little bit disappointed because I'm not used to going out and watching comedians, right? So I don't do that. But you know, I did. And I saw it. The second lady was actually pretty funny. She was the funniest out of all of them, in my opinion. Well, I mean, Shane was actually funny too. He made some really funny jokes that were not vulgar, thank God. He started out kind of vulgar, then kind of stepped away from it, and then when he did the Trump impressions, that was solid. That was solid. See, that's nice. It doesn't have to be vulgar, you know. It's nice. It's not. You have a little bit of talent. Go figure. You have a little bit of talent. Hey, you know, it just seems like these days comedians don't have any talent whatsoever. You know, and I think that's the problem. They don't try to work their talent. They don't try to get better at being funny. They just try to be vulgar, and it's just lame. It's just flat out lame, dude. In my opinion. That's why I never really tried it. I never tried stand-up comedy because I want to take it to an intellectual level. I want to take it to a level that's unique and kind of like Seinfeld, you know, but in my own way. But I've never done it because it's hard. It's freaking hard. It's not easy. You got to spend a lot of time thinking about your material. You got to practice your material, you know, like an actor, if you will, you know, and yeah. I mean, if making comedy today is a reflection of society, then society is fucking vulgar and disgusting. You know, it just is what it is. You know, but hey, each their own. You know, if you want to live a vulgar life and be degenerate and then laugh off the degeneracy like it's a joke, great. Go live your life. That's not me. I'm not doing that. But the second lady was funny. She was a lesbian. And she was kind of joking about how she's even kind of like weirded out by the stuff happening with the LGBTQ stuff and all that. So that was pretty funny because there's actually some real truth to that. So when you know, obviously when there's truth in things, you can present it in a way that's humorous, but when you do it with vulgarity, I mean, we all know, about sex and this and that, and there's people who, kind of live freely and do whatever they want, but I mean, I just didn't think it was funny at all. The third guy was a fucking aggressive beast, in my opinion. He was an aggressive a-hole. And it again, it's just so it's a cop out when you start talking to the audience and because you don't have jokes, it's a cop out. You're not being you're not, in my opinion, you're working the crowd. No, I mean, if that's all you're doing, forget it. You're not being a good comedian, in my opinion. Sure, it's part of being a comedian, but if that's all you do, I don't know. It's just a cop out. You're just copping out because you don't have material. And this guy, and man, aggressive comedians are just a big turnoff for me. Like, as far as laughing, it's just like, really? Like, you think that your aggressiveness is funny? It just makes me look at you in a different light. You're expressing all these ideas and you're thinking to me, and I'm looking at you going, wow, you're disgusting, you're pathetic, you're a loser. I'm serious. They're all fucking losers. They're just telling you how much of a loser and disgusting people they are. Sorry if you're offended by that, but I mean, I wasn't really laughing that much. I was just sad. I was sad, and there was people laughing, but it's like, great. You think 3-year-old, 5-year-old jokes are funny? Great. Poop, shit, piss, sex. Oh wow, it's so fucking funny. Oh, yeah, only 5-year-olds find that shit funny. And it's just there's no intelligence whatsoever behind any of their material. It was just so fucking vulgar. And I get it. I mean, there's adults in the room, okay? I get it. It's not like it was a kid's show, but still. Why is society so fucking vulgar and disgusting that this is what we call as entertainment? It's just fucking sad. It's just fucking sad, man. But each their own flavor, each their own taste, and if you like that stuff, okay, whatever, you like that stuff. But I don't know. I was just kind of disappointed, man. I was just disappointed. I don't know. I mean, if these losers can pack out a fucking room, like a fucking arena, nowadays I guess anybody can be a comedian. I can talk about whatever vulgarity and then get a platform. And that, I don't know. To my opinion, that's just wrong. That's just wrong on so many levels. Especially like take a figure like what's that guy's name? I never watched him because jokes seemed like propaganda. And that's another thing that's horrible. How comedians are used as propaganda to push one side of the political aisle. And these people have TV platforms, so it feels more official. So I'm glad he's gone. This Kimmel was a fucking cesspool of just nonsense and lies and skewed views. It's like bring back that 90s flair that we just don't see anymore. And I really liked Robin Williams. Back in the day, he wasn't so vulgar. And Robin Williams was one of the most intelligent comedians I have ever seen in my life. The things he can do, and the way he connected things, and the way he presented was a level beyond any of these lame assholes who are basically just losers. I don't agree with these assholes. And the thing that I was really disappointed with Shane, right? And they make fun of the light. It's because he's, he kind of jokes, I'm kind of ugly, and he's not necessarily ugly, he just, maybe you should stop drinking so much and stop doing certain things to make yourself ugly, make your soul ugly. And so they went on and how like power and money gets you these young women. And I'm just like, dude, you're fucking disgusting. You're making fun of pedophiles you're over here acting like fucking one. Nah, I'm done. I'm done with these assholes who think they're funny. And I think the only thing that gave Shane, what's his name? Shane Gillis. So, and to be fair, his material is actually better than all the three that were in front of him that came out and did. His material, I think, was the best. There you can see You can see the brain working there, you know. Of course, you know, a comedy uh I don't know. To be that open about it and laugh it off, it just shows me you're a fucking disgusting person, you know. If you want to keep that stuff private, you know, just keep your private life private, man. Like you don't see Seinfeld. It was not easy to be like, damn, man, like why are you dating somebody so much younger than you? Like, shouldn't you like be a real fucking man who believes that you find the right person and you raise a family? That's my thing. I haven't done a good job at it. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'd be very hypocritical of me and say if you know I failed in a lot of things in my life. I failed that. I failed you know getting a good job. I failed a lot of things in my life, but I'm still working on it. You know, I'm not gonna make jokes about it to denigrate myself. You know, it's just for laughs and fame. That's what I'm seeing. It's like it's like you're trading your soul for laughs and fame, and I'm just not for it. You know, if you're not gonna stand in your convictions, if you're not gonna try to be a good person, then you know, fine. If you want to relate to the cesspool, go ahead and relate to the cesspool, but I'm not going to relate to it. It's just that simple. You know, I'm just not going to do it. And you can say, oh, you know, it's just adults and adults do this. No, that's not an excuse. Adults should be the first ones to be responsible, to be intelligent, to, you know, to be a force of good, not a force of evil. You know, I can't believe I'm watching this. I can't believe this is what is the status for comedy in our nation. It's fucking disgusting. It's fucking disgusting, man. Disgusting. So we were at the show. Like I said, I still had a good time. You know, I never made a complaint. But it started raining and thundering like pretty hard. So my friend was worried about her plants, so we skedaddled out of there before everybody left or had the chance to start leaving. So we left pretty quick. We ran in the rain. That was some cold, hard rain, and it was thundering like crazy. We just ran for it. We ran for it to the car, you know, and then drove home. But it's good. It was petty and just kind of low quality jokes, you know. But that's okay if people like that stuff, you know. All right, cool. There's a section of humanity that is disgusting and vulgar. Great. These are just jokes, Lee. They're just joking. No, I'm not. That's not an excuse you can use anymore. I'm just because I've seen stuff on YouTube, and you know people get upset. It's like I'm just joking. No, it's more than that because you're inserting ideas and you're basically saying it's okay for me to be vulgar and disgusting because I'm only joking. But I mean, are you really? It's like a camouflage, you know. So I honestly I wouldn't be friends with any of those people. I would never be friends with any of those comedians. I think they're horrible people in my opinion, but you know. And it's not like I'm judging them at face value. They told me how they think. They told me how they operate. They told me how vulgar they are. They showed me how vulgar they are and disgusting. So I'm just like, you know, give the big aggressive fat dude probably an F. I would give the lesbian a. But anyways, you know, each their own. You know, I'm only saying this because it opened my eyes to what it's not intelligent. Sometimes it's super politically ramped up, you know, and it's like, God, like, is there any like pure comedy out there anymore? Like where things are just silly and funny? No, it's just fucking vulgar and disgusting. But they're adults. Dude, I don't give a shit, dude. It doesn't give you a license to be fucking disgusting and vulgar. Like, what the hell is that? And then they talk about how bad their life is. Well, why do you think? You're fucking disgusting people. You're disgusting fucking people. You know? That's what you get. You end up with a fucking shitty life. If you're a disgusting, vulgar person, that's what you get. But hey, you know, each their own. Each their own, you know? Each their own. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say about that. I was just disappointed, you know, or I don't know. It just opened my eyes a little more, and then it just. I hope there's comedians out there that can bring that intelligence, that can bring the classiness, and can bring a silly innocence back to the stage. Because I miss that. I miss that silly innocence that people don't have. I mean, and I think the reason why you don't see that silly innocence on stage from an adult is because they're not innocent. They're not you know what I mean? They're just disgusting, filthy people. You know, it's disgusting, filthy people connecting with other disgusting, filthy people. That's what it is. And I couldn't connect with it. I just could not connect with it. It was just so over the top. You know, and again their excuse is it's a joke. It's a joke. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Uh, that's not gonna fly with me, and it doesn't fly with a lot of people either. You know, it doesn't. So, I mean, I've seen racists make jokes, you know, and that's okay. It's okay for you to be a fucking flat out racist. I mean, I didn't say that happened this time, but I've seen it on YouTube. Just people being flat out racist. I'm only joking. It's a joke. What about all that people who are applauding Charlie Kirk's death and making jokes? It's a joke. It's a joke. Is it a joke? Or are they showing you a part of their soul that's fucking filthy and disgusting, and you realize, oh wow, these people are fucking evil. You know what I mean? These people show you who they are. They expose themselves freely, happily, proudly to you. You know, I'm not gonna laugh at that. You know, it's you're exposing your how fucking ugly you are. It's not funny. It's you need help. You people need fucking help. You know what I'm saying? You're sick. And maybe that's the world we live in. We live in a world where there's just people with mental illnesses running around freely, you know, and stating their opinions and this and that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to give you the solution to that. I don't have a solution. What do you do with these mentally ill people? I don't know. I guess just wait until they do something stupid and send them to jail. I mean that's happening all over the fucking all over the place. You know, you got people who are just so misguided, so lost. You know, and they in their own thinking. You know that they don't accept truth, and instead of accepting truth, they want to just find the things that help them triple down in their own narrative, their own little bubble they've created. You know, and you see it everywhere. I mean, you see it with the left. You see it with the left how they've created their own way of life. It's a reality of delusions. You know that they live in. They don't live in reality. They live in a delusional world inside reality. You know, so it's just I don't know. I was not impressed. I was not impressed. Not one bit by the whole show. Not one bit was I impressed. Not one bit. It was just a big disappointment. You know. So I didn't know what to expect because I don't know these people. You know, I don't know these people. I don't know who's touring with them. But it seemed, you know what it seemed like. It seemed like watching a really shitty local stand up act, but these people actually have fame and can bring an audience in, right? But it was just like watching a really shitty stand up here, like at a local bar. It was kind of like that, you know. And I didn't. It wasn't like a top tier show. It wasn't like no. It was bottom tier, but for whatever reason, I guess they have some fame behind them and whatnot, so they can get the people to come in because they have the exposure. But so disappointing. So I just I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I just didn't live up to my standards. Um, and I think Seinfeld even talks about this how just comedy is just people just cop out and like they all did it. They all came out and said, "What's up, motherfuckers?" Like that's the first. I mean, come on, dude, grow up, grow the fuck up, man. I'm so tired of comedians coming out and, "What's up, motherfuckers?" Like, and everyone's cheering. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a more intelligent way instead of just copping out like that, you know. And that's what Shia LaBeouf did when he was younger, doing stand up. He was this little kid coming on stage saying, "What's up, motherfuckers?" You know, this young little kid, and people cheer him on. You know, you're cheering on vulgarity. You know, and I can't be a part of that. I cannot be a part of that, man. Like, it's fucking disgusting. Anyways, those are my 2 cents on the show. I think average Joes would probably enjoy it. You know, just average people, you know, would probably enjoy it. But not impressed. Not impressed. I was impressed with the Trump impression. That was like the best part of the whole show. I mean, he should have just done that the whole time. If he'd have done that the whole time, it would have been like equally as good of a show. It's like, why don't you cut all the fat out, stick to the part that's like fucking hilarious, and just do that. You could have done that for an hour, and it would have been fine. But I don't know. And I hate it when like comedians talk about things and they turn to the audience like, "Do you agree? Do you agree with that statement?" It's just funny to me because obviously they're going very edgy with their material, and so they're looking for agreement. You know, it's like they're looking for it, and I don't think comedians should do that. You shouldn't look for agreement with the audience. You shouldn't look for what do you call it? Like, oh, look, guys, I'm being really vulgar. You agree with this? You know, and if you don't, they just attack you. They go, oh well, blah, blah, I'm just doing this. It's a joke. It's a joke. Man, you're doing more than joking. You know, you're making a vulgarity acceptable. That's what you're doing, and I cannot agree with that, man. It's just wrong. So, anyways, I'm gonna get off here and just I just had those 2 cents. Yo, Pine Motional, what up, buddy? Again, if you're for that kind of stuff, fine. But I cannot, in good conscience, be for that. You know, I can't. It doesn't allow me to be for that. So, but if it doesn't affect your consciousness, if it doesn't affect that part of you, you know, then you won't have a problem. But unfortunately, I have that, and it just no, just no, just no. I'm not a fan of the vulgar comedy. To me, it's a big cop out. You know. But anyways, that's all I had to say about it. I just maybe I need to do some more research and look for more intelligent, more simple, innocent kind of comedy. Hopefully that still exists out there in the adult world, because it'd be very sad if it didn't. It'd be very sad if it didn't. If this is what comedy turns out to be, pretty sad state of affairs. But anyways, I'm just yippering, yappering. Those are my 2 cents on the matter. You don't have to agree. That's fine. But that's where I stand with the issue. It's a big cop out to be a vulgar comedian. You know, and look, there's free speech. Free speech is a great thing, but there is consequences to your free speech, and we saw that with the left when there were people making fun of Charlie Kirk's death, making fun of the Erica, the widow now, making fun of the kids, saying, you know, they're better off without the father. It was a joke. It was a joke. No, it wasn't a joke, because the truth comes out, and you're just presenting it, and you're trying to present it in a light way. You assume it's a light way, but when people see you and you expose yourself, the kind of evil that you are, we get disgusted. We're fucking disgusted with your behavior, the way you think, the way you act, the way you expose yourself. You know, and it's not our fault. You're exposing it to us. If you just leave it alone, didn't say anything, we would never know how you think about things. We would never know. But you got to thank the internet for that, because the internet, I've said this, if you watch internet and you watch all different kinds of shows, cop cams, courts, I mean, it's all on the internet. People are exposing themselves as evil, and then they don't understand while people attack them. You know, it's because you're fucking evil. And the fact that like a man had to die for us to snap back to reality, to get away from this delusion that, oh, it's just a joke. Oh, I'm not hurting anyone. Yeah, you're fucking. I don't know, man. I almost don't want to talk about it anymore because it just makes me sad. Because it goes back to what I was saying before. People are so lost, you know. But that's the danger of having all these freedoms is you can find yourself getting lost. I mean, look at Candace Owens. Dear God, Candace Owens should be a comedian for all the things she said, you know, but she's not. You know, that's the thing about Candace. Like all these comedians in a way are like Candace Owens, but Candace Owens is not a comedian. She presents herself as a serious investigator, so she can't be like, oh, I'm joking, I'm joking. She's like, no, I know for a fact that this and this and this and this and this. She's trying so hard to protect her narrative for audience sake. It's fucking disgusting. You know, again, more just stupid behavior by people who are are running after the things that don't matter in life. You know, fame is not a necessity in life. You don't need fame. You don't. You know, it's something you want. It's something you would chase after and make sacrifice to achieve these things. You know, making money. You know, you don't necessarily have to be the richest man on the planet. You can be content with just enough to get by, or enough to live out a decent life and be able to do the things you want to do. You know, you don't need to be a gazillionaire. You don't need to be a millionaire. I mean, it's again, it's back to the material world. How much material do you need to satisfy that hunger for materials? It's never going to satisfy the hunger. You know, you see these people with giant houses and giant this and this car and this car, and they're never satisfied. It's almost like an addiction, and that's what addiction does. When you have an addiction, it's a pleasure you can never fully satisfy. The hunger gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you just realize, oh, this is bad. You know, this is not good. I got to figure out ways to look for the things that actually matter in life. What is it that actually matters in life? You know, and that's a key question that I think a lot of people don't want to ask themselves. Because if they truly and authentically would ask themselves what truly matters in life, I think they would change their behaviors. They would change the way they do life. And for most people who are getting success doing what they do, they're not going to change. They're going to keep after the success. And there's nothing wrong with success. There's nothing wrong with capitalist ideals and you know, creating businesses and creating employees and this and that, creating a service for humanity. But entertainment is one of those things that is kind of last on the list. You know, it does fill up space. It does create an escapism, but at the end of the day, it's one of the least important things in life. Entertainment. It's not that important, you know. Um, but yeah, I mean, escaping every once in a while is necessary to just get away from things and have some kind of peace in mind, you know. But I just at the end of the day, it's not that necessary. Um, each their own. These are just my 2 cents. This is my cup of tea. You know, if you don't like the taste of it, that's fine. You don't have to like it. I don't like the vulgarity in my tea. You know, you can leave that out. You know, for me, it's a personal choice. You know, each their own. But I see what I see, and I can't unsee it. You know, and people expose themselves to the world. It's done. We saw it. It's online. It's you know it's there basically almost forever, and so I don't know. Anyways, I just kind of needed to rant. I needed to just get off that my chest because it was a little disappointing. And this other guy I watched, he's become very popular. I don't remember his name, but he's become very popular. He's also vulgar and he jokes, but through his joking, he's telling kids to go buy drugs, go do drugs, go have sex, to a 14-year-old. Oh, but he's joking. But he's literally just telling him to go do that. That's fucking wrong. That's wrong. Okay. You shouldn't be telling a 14-year-old to go do these things, even if it's a joke. You're sending a message, a pretty wrong message. What's his name? Matt Rife, I think his name is Matt Rife or whatever. He is funny. I'll give him that. But in my opinion, he crosses the line too much. And it's disguised as humor. But that's the thing about these comedians. They expose how, they expose a part of themselves and what they believe is how the world works. This is my sinning. Everybody laugh at my sinning, and you should go do more of that sinning. Even as a 14-year-old, yeah, go do that sinning. I'm just joking, guys. I'm joking. It's not funny. I'm sorry, it's not funny. You're sending people down the wrong path. It's not funny, and everybody's laughing because ha ha ha. But that shit, it gets in there. You're making it seem it's okay. It's okay. Go do this. Go do this. It's not okay. You're sending people down the wrong path. You're sending a really horrible message. So yeah, and I'm not like a kind of person that's gonna be like, oh yeah, he's Shane Gillis and Matt Rife, they're on this like no watch list. That's not true. I'm not gonna like ban them for my exposure. I'll still watch them. I'll give them chances, but at the end of the day, it was the same shit over and over. I'm just like, okay, I'm tired of this because this isn't funny anymore. I would love to do stand up and talk about some of the most horrific things and just go, I'm just joking, guys. I'm just joking. Just to make a point that like you can't use that as an excuse anymore. It's a poor excuse, and nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it because you think you're joking, and we get that you think you're joking as part of your joke, but we see you. We see you. We see what you stand for. We see for who you are. Unless you're lying to us and you're just putting on a whole persona just to get a laugh. But even then, you're still presenting a horrible message to the world. So I don't know. If a demonic person makes a joke about something demonic and people laugh, I'm just looking around going, are y'all demons? Is that why you find this funny? Because you're all fucking demons and you're laughing at the jokes that another demon is saying? Because that's the only thing I can think of. But anyways, again, that's just me. People say I have too high of standards in life, but at the end of the day, I just want to stand for goodness. I want you can wish and want for society to change, but you can't, there's nothing much you can do except change yourself to be the best man you can be, or best woman, or whatever. And the people that start early in life, they get it right. It's why they're so successful later on in life. It's why they have families. It's why they have, because they did it right. And the proof is in the pudding. So, I used to be a little lost myself. It's easy to get lost in a world where everything's a joke, or it's presented to you with evil, but in a light way, and so somehow that makes it okay, and it kind of spreads. It starts very small, right? It starts small, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger if you don't check yourself. You get influenced. But these days it's very hard to influence me because I'm very on top of my convictions, and I'm very on top of being the best kind of person that I can be. because I've seen what it does. I've seen it up close. I've experienced it. I've seen what sin does to a person. It destroys you. It completely destroys you as a person. It destroys your potential. You know, and depending how far you take that sin, it'll destroy you. And that's why it's called a sin. It's not good for you. It's not good for your temple, if you will, your body. You know, you're damaging it, you're scarring it, you're destroying the temple that houses your spirit, your soul. You know, um, so. Anyways, I'm not trying to be a preacher, but I'm just looking at things and just making a connection, right? Um, yeah. Anyways, y'all have a good day. Those are my 2 cents. I'm sorry if you're offended by it, but I'm just not a fan of vulgar comedians. I'm just not. It's just not funny. It's like the difference is huge. When you see a good comedian not using vulgar, and you see because it's way challenging. It's way more challenging, and it's like, and you see a comedian doing the vulgar. It's like the difference between an apple that's fucking gone bad and a good apple. You know, that's the difference. You have an apple that's like juice, like clean and delicious. That's the comic who doesn't do vulgarity, and then you have the comic that does vulgarity in the most disgusting ways. And that, to me, an apple that's rotted. You know, it's just rotting. It's disgusting. It probably has a worm in it. You know, and I don't like it. I just don't like it. I'm not gonna choose that apple because it's fucking disgusting. You know, I'll choose the apple that's clean and like in perfection. It's ready to be eaten. Right. Anyways, I just had to put in my 2 cents about this because it was kind of bothering me, to be honest. I was just thinking about it. Am I overthinking this too much? No, I don't think I am. I think I'm on point. I think I'm on point when I say people are cop out with vulgarity and then they use the excuse, I'm joking, I'm joking. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me, and I don't think it works for a lot of people. So, you know, you want to, you know, especially when I'm just repeating myself, but look, I mean, just look what happened to the left. They fucking made jokes, and people are finding out where they live, where they work and stuff, and and they get fired, right? Rightly so. And it's not the government coming in and firing you. It's not like no, this is just society. An employer doesn't want anything to do with you because you're a fucking disgusting human being. You know, and thanks to the internet, you all proudly expose yourself. That's so funny how they just proudly expose their own evil to the world. You know, or they're a victim. They're like, oh, I'm so evil, but I lost my job and now I'm crying about it. And it's an attack on my free speech. No, nobody attacked you because of your free speech. They just see you for who you are, a filthy, disgusting, degenerate, evil person. You know. So I don't know. It's almost like after Charlie's death, it's like we all got this like that sparked a whole thing across the US. I mean, the proper thing is, and it's not even proper, it's just human. Like, if you weren't sad for the fact that a good man died, if you weren't sad that he was a father and now his kids don't have that father, like, you're not fucking human. You're a fucking demon. Like, you're fucking possessed by a demon. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, you have to be possessed because there's no way somebody can be so fucking evil to be happy that somebody died, especially a good person like Charlie. Like, how fucking evil do you have? All right, folks. I think I'm gonna finish the painting today, the Charlie Kirk painting. I'll do a little short update. Maybe I might go live as I finish the painting. I don't like to show people how I work because Sometimes I mess up. It's like, oh, you're not a real artist. You're not a real artist. It's like, dude, that's why I don't go live, because you're not a real artist. Like, dude, fuck off. I have my methods of creating the paintings. You know, I'm the one doing it. I'm the one painting it. I'm the one who has to go and spend time on this. Don't call me not an artist. That's fucking so the thing I've ever heard in my life. So that's why I don't go live, because people see how I do it and they're like, oh, and it's not like, you know, I don't know, I just don't understand people sometimes. But it's like when you build a house, you have a blueprint. Well, when I do my paintings, I have a blueprint. I don't just dive in, and go in. And sometimes I do, and it comes out pretty abstract. When it's something kind of serious, and which includes a ruler, includes projection. I use light projection to do like my first tracing of it. It saves me time. I used to do it freehand, and it gets me in trouble, and I spend time having to fix it. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend time having to go back and fix things, because it eats up a lot of my time, which I don't have. You know, but Da Vinci had his ways, and so there's just because you use techniques doesn't mean you're not a real artist. A magician has techniques. Does that mean he's not a real magician? Well, of course the magic is fake, but it appears real. And there's some magic to this thing. So if I used to tell people how I work, now I don't, because it ruins the magic. Like when you watch theater, all the actors have to learn their lines. They spend months. Is that cheating? No? It's a blueprint. It's preparing. You prepare. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, to me, it's just a ridiculous thing that people were saying, and I just was like, really? So now I can't, because it ruins the magic. It does. When you show people how you do your work, and they go, oh, I could do that. Well, if you could, then go do it. But they don't, because they can't, because it's not just about the technique. You know what I'm saying? It's not about the tools that you have. You can have all the tools, but if you don't have the talent, it's not going to be as good. Trust me. And I have the talent. I've always had the talent for painting and drawing. But like I said, as a writer, when I'm a writer, I have different tools and techniques and structure. Then you have writers that go, oh, I'm a real writer. I don't use any of that. Professional writers who get paid top dollar, trust me, they use these tools, because I was taught by them. I was taught by professionals how to be a real writer. You have ways of approaching the material. You have ways of doing things that require work, not just sitting there and just writing what's on the top of your head, and hopefully it'll add up and make sense and you make it to the end. No, there's structure. There's different things that go in. The writing is so much more challenging than painting. I'll say that. And so I just people are just clueless. They don't want to dive in, and then all they do is ridicule me. So it's like, oh my god, forget it. I'm no longer going live. So, but since I'm almost done, I probably will go live here in a bit for the painting. Since I'm almost done, my plan, if I have time today, which I think I do, is I'm going to donate it to the Republican headquarters. If they're open, if there's a way for me to give it to them, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it to them and say, hey, is there any way, like, do you want to keep this? You can auction it off. If you want to raise money, you can give it to Turning Point USA if you want. I'm just leaving it up to you. Tulsa, I got paintings. I got paintings in universities. I got paintings in museums. I got paintings in movie theaters. Well, one movie theater. I got paintings in cafes. So I've really been, following my passion with that, and it's kind of spreading like wildfire a little bit. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. Everyone has a good day. All those cuts. No, I just have really shitty internet. It's not pre-recorded. This is live right now. See, all those cuts. This is pre. It's not pre-recorded. Okay. This is not pre-recorded. This is live. I just have really shitty internet service. I'm sorry. It's the best I can do. So that's funny to me that a person would be like, you see how dumb people are? This person, Garudo, is like, oh, all those cuts. This is pre-recorded. This is the delusion people live in. They see something, they make up their mind, even though it's completely false, and they move forward with it. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. People are insane, dude. They don't. People are insane, dude. They look at optics, and what seems like something, they don't think, oh, this could not be what it is. But this guy is accusing me of this is being not live. This is pre-recorded. It's not. This is live. This is live, Bubba. And my those cuts, it cuts because my internet's shitty and my phone is shitty because I don't have the technology to have a microphone and have the best internet service. And, you know, I don't have the podcast shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not necessarily trying to be a podcaster. I've been coming on here to rant because things piss me off. The world pisses me off, and I try to make sense of it by discussing it. You know, some people make good comments, you know, and some people don't. But it really just shows me how people are, you know. Is this just a long monologue? Let's see the comments. Is this a recording or just a reading the comments? No offense, just wondering. Can you see our comments? Just checking. Yeah, I see your comments, but I mean, I'm not going to spend, I don't necessarily come on here for the comments, and you know what I mean? But I got